Hello and welcome to Surf Pro Techniques. I'm your host Chapin Kruder, and today we'll be discussing one thing that as a surf instructor / coach is one of the hardest things to describe to a student, and that is how to generate speed on a surfboard. So I discovered this children's toy at a neighbor's house, and when I got on and attempted, I realized that it really simulated the movements that are necessary for generating speed. And there's a lot of different wave skates out there and different types of skateboards that are meant to help you understand this motion. However, when I got on this kid's toy, which I believe is called a razor rip skate or something like that, it enabled me to duplicate those movements in a way that I felt was extremely relevant to generating speed. So this is what it looks like. It's a pretty simple design. Many of you probably already know this if you have nephews, nieces, children, but it is actually a really good tool that you can use to help understand the movements necessary to generate speed. Now there are 3 movements necessary to generating speed. 1 is your ankle movement, 2 is your knee movement, and 3 is your arm movement. And as you see, it takes a combination of all these movements in order to generate speed. And I think this razor ripstick is a good place to start understanding these movements. So here I just used a chair to help stabilize me. I recommend using a partner, but if you don't have anybody around, you can start by using a chair. And once you're on and stabilized, just really get used to the movements, how the ankles rotate back and forth, how it moves under your feet, to be familiar for when you do release from the chair or whoever's stabilizing you, how it's going to work. I also recommend wearing pads, elbow pads, knee pads, a helmet, because if you're not used to these types of toys, then falling isn't going to be fun. Now this is how I'd recommend you start. Face in the direction you want to go and use the chair to stabilize. Once you get comfortable starting, start paying attention to the movements necessary to generate speed with the skateboard. As you can see, it's a lot of rotating the ankles in opposing directions in order to generate speed. Then once you start getting that rotation down, pay attention to how your knees bend and lift throughout the movement. Then pay attention to your upper body and the arm movements necessary to propel yourself. These 3 techniques are the exact same when it comes to generating speed on a surfboard. You will feel differences based on the surfboard versus skateboard. However, the movements are the exact same, and those are the types of feelings that you want to become familiar with. So take a look how my back knee is bending and how my front and back feet, as my ankles rotate, are going in opposing directions. My back foot is pulling back as my front foot is pushing forward throughout this maneuver. This is the critical up and back motion your feet and legs need to be making as you're trying to generate speed on a surfboard. The twisting and turning of your hips and shoulders and bending of your knees help propel you forward on both this skateboard and a surfboard. So if you ever took this skateboard onto a sloped piece of concrete and went parallel as if you were simulating a wave, you could duplicate the type of movements necessary to trying to generate speed on a surfboard. Then once you have those movements down, you can also utilize this skateboard to practice your turns, as this young professional is doing here. He's rotating his shoulder out just as he would here in this turn, duplicating the same movements. So remember the 3 components of generating speed. 1, rotating your ankles and pulling them in opposing direction. 2, bending your knees, compressing your knees up as you pump up the wave, and then extending as you go down and repeating that motion over and over again. 3, arm movement. Use your arms, shoulders, hips, and torso to propel you through the movement. It is easier to apply these movements to a wave face that is steeper than this one that Mick is trying to generate speed on, but the same movements are used in both situations, just a little bit more over exaggerated in waves like this one that Mick's on that are flatter. Thank you for choosing Surf Pro Techniques. I hope this video has proven useful. If you've liked what you heard here today, you can subscribe to our channel. You can like us on Facebook, you can write a comment below, or just keep checking in with us on a regular basis. I believe that you can progress through technique.